Hey everybody, we're just going to give a minute or two for more of our people to join up. So be a bit patient. I see some familiar names there. Hello Stoffel. Hello Anthony. Good to see you guys on there. We'll give it one more minute and then we'll kick it off. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the next episode in our webinar series. We are still seeing people jumping in. Andrew, hey, all the way from Tauranga, good to see you in there. Maybe we'll start with a few introductions while we wait for the rest to add in. My name is Wynand. I am the sales manager for Stormwater 360 for those that don't know me. And then with me, I will have Kevin Jonathan. I think he's a familiar enough face, our lead technical engineer at Stormwater 360. And then we have the privilege of Fox Environmental from Australia that's joining us today because it is quite a topical conversation with regards to washed water and wash bays and how we want to manage that. And we have the privilege of having David as owner and his team members, Mick and Charles, to join us. Dave, do you want to just do a quick introduction of your guys and just who they are before we start and allow some more people to jump in?
Yeah, thanks, Vinod. Well, myself here with Michael. He's our operations manager and our systems design engineer. And in the background here, you can't see these guys live, but we've got our sales team, Daniel, our Queensland rep, and our business development manager, Charlie, sitting in behind the scenes here, making sure we behave ourselves and get all this information right.
Unmute. I think I get that right. Dave, thanks for that, and welcome, team. It's good to have you on board for this. We've had a long-standing relationship with Fox with regards to the speciality that they bring into, especially the stormwater market for us as well. So I will kick this off just with a few housekeeping things. You'll see that in the top menu ribbon of the webinar, there is a Q&A button. If we can ask you guys if there's any specific questions to add it to the Q&A section, that's where we will go back afterwards just to run through a few of those with the panel that we have here available. So let's just jump into that. For today, we're going to talk about wash water, how wash water is perceived within our water management sector, what it means, the impacts thereof, and what we can do about it. I will do a quick introduction, whereafter I will pass over to Kevin to talk a little bit more about the New Zealand regulatory environment, maybe best practice, a little bit of that. But then we want to hand over to the Fox team to really delve into the technical specifications because, Fox Environmental has been around I think from this late 70s, and it's just grown from strength to strength, and it's still, I think, the only really approved to the high watermark standard diversion systems that is available to manage wash water. So we will want to move over to them to run us through three of the technologies that we see mostly used for New Zealand applications. Also then making it a bit more relevant with regards to projects, specific case studies, to just trigger that little bit of where can I and where should I be using these type of technologies. Kevin then will end off with a New Zealand case study. We've done plenty of the FOX systems over the years, and then we will pass it over to you guys for some Q&A. So just a last reminder for those that joined lately, Q&A, please use the Q&A button at the top ribbon, so you can just post your questions in there. All right, so I think that we've done the introductions. FOX is really rightly regarded as the leading provider of wash water diversion technology. Anything that is not roofed over, where you have washing activity, you want a diversion system from FOX Environmental approved to the watermark standard. Let us delve right into that. Just with regards to wash water, and why this topic and why today we are talking about this is really, it is not stormwater. So from a stormwater 360 perspective, we want to understand wash water and what to do with it, because the contaminant loads and concentrations and types within wash water is not typical stormwater. So we have to do something else with it, because our stormwater networks are designed or intended to convey clean rainwater, right, to our receiving environments. And when we do have some kind of land activity that produces or high contaminant generation, then we have standard or typical stormwater treatment systems, and dependent on where in New Zealand you are, the regulatory environments and frameworks and guidelines with regards to what you should be using to treat your stormwater differs, but mostly intended to treat your typical stormwater contaminants, which is not wash water, right? So when we talk about wash water and we push that into the stormwater network, we are talking about illicit discharges, which brings two really big concerns. The first one, of course, is environmental, right? The impact of wash water on contaminants even. We had a conversation this morning with a different consultancy where we talked about even your biodegradable, your bio-friendly, your organic detergents used for washing activity still emulsifies hydrocarbons to such an extent that those droplets becomes really neutrally buoyant, sits in the water column, and we can't separate them off because they just don't flow. And that's the problem with wash water. We can't apply standard stormwater practice to this. So you will have that discharge into the environment, and that brings a whole bunch of nasties. You can see in the pictures in that specific slide how metals can create biobacteria in there, or where hydrocarbons can cause a biofilm and toxicity in our environments, or even spills during washing activity. Really harmful. That's the environmental impact, but there's also the compliance. Right, you are not allowed to divert wash water into your stormwater network. It's not allowed. You will have problems with council. Hopefully, Kevin will talk a little bit more about that. So that's why we want to manage this, right? So if we have proper diversion controls for wash water, then we protect our environment, which we are all custodians of, and we tick the regulatory compliance box and don't get into trouble. So that's what we want to do. And really, so what you want, if you have wash activity at a specific project, at that specific site, and it is not roofed over, so it is open to stormwater draining down into wherever you catch that and direct that water, then you must have a diversion system to divert that wash water, and specifically an approved system to the watermark standard, which gives you confidence that the system will operate like it should. And that's the big nutshell of an introduction. I'm going to hand over to Kevin now. So Kevin, if you want to take control, just to talk a little bit more about this compliance and the regulatory environment in New Zealand that you need to take note of. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So So this is a poster by Auckland Council to show why wash water management is essential. And again, this is to reiterate what Weinand has said. And you can see from wash water, especially from a commercial wash water, you get a lot of this variety of pollutants, which is, dirt, oil, concrete, oil residues, and metals and paints that will go into the environment. And the standard stormwater treatment can't deal with that, or generally will get clogged straight away. So that's why you normally would need to divert it to wash water. So in terms of the regulation, you have the RMA, I guess, at the very top, that tells us, that we should not be discharging any illicit or illegal discharge into any of our water. That's the infringement there. But you, on the right-hand side, you probably will get what council generally will tell you, and for commercial operations that it needs to be bundled and also needs either covered by roof. And what probably Weinand did not cover is when it's uncovered, you do want to divert all the highly contaminated stormwater down to the wastewater, but then you don't want any of the stormwater to go down into the wastewater, because that has some risk of overloading the wastewater treatment center, and it can actually cause it to overflow at the same time. So you want that balance of putting the highly contaminated during the washdown activity down to the wastewater, but we want to keep the stormwater out from the wastewater treatment center as well. And from the RMA, each of the district and city council will probably have their own practice in terms of what's allowed or what should be going into each of the tradeways. As you can see on this slide here, there's quite a lot of different tradeways bylaws. You can see one from Auckland Council, one from Hamilton City Council, one's from Timaru, and they're basically all saying that a truck wash facility or washdown pad have to go down to wastewater or trade waste line. And there's different requirement in terms of how much you can send through to each center per day, in terms of volume, contaminant loading, things like that. So I won't be able to go through each of the district council on this webinar. You should be able, if you go to trade waste bylaws and your local council code, you should be able to find the details on what's required. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to the Foxify guys to take over.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. It gives us a good idea that the New Zealand rules and regulations are very, very similar to the ones over here in Australia. So to give you a bit of a brief on our business and what we do, but first of all, I just wanted to say to everybody, we're very excited to have a seminar with you guys today. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Yes, we have a great relationship with the Stormwater 360 guys that dates back over 15, 16 years now. We've worked good together on a lot of projects. We've had a lot of success. Our systems here will go through and give you a bit of a brief on how they work. But the background of Fox Environmental is that over 40 years we've been in the stormwater protection game. That's what diversion systems are about, as you guys have already seen from Weinand and Kevin's presentation there, that stormwater protection is a big thing. Whether you're in New Zealand, Australia, we export these systems all around the world as well, and it's becoming a very hot topic to make sure that sites are on nil discharge of pollution to stormwater, and we know the results and the ramifications if that doesn't take place. So what we do here is we manufacture all of our systems here in Australia, compliant with all council rules, regulations. We've also got our oil separators as well that the 360 guys have, a treatment device as well as the diversion systems, but we're just going to focus on the diversion systems today and give you an idea and what they do and how they do. what they do and how we put them in place. So they're engineered to perform. Our systems are all designed to do specific jobs, and that's basically stormwater protection. So what we'll do, I'll give you a little bit of a brief here on the next slide to give you the regulations. Our systems, our diversion systems are the only systems in the world approved by the Australian standard, built to the Australian standard, the WMTS 046-2016 Australian New Zealand plumbing standard. They are also approved internationally by the AATMO UPC Shield, which gives us the ability to sell these things anywhere overseas. The stormwater protection is a big issue. So it's very important to understand that because these diversion systems are on the potable water line, that they have to be watermarked, and then they have to go through stringent testing. We have to go back to the watermark guys every 5 years for a retest, reschedule. They come and do the audits here. Mick is in charge of looking after the audits and looking after the IATMO guys when they come out for the day and go through the factory. So rest assured that the systems here are built to the highest national and international standards. And if you want any information on that at the end, please give us an email or ask any questions, and we'll forward all that to you as well. Product overview. Why use a stormwater diversion system? Well, they're a lot cheaper than roofs. They're a lot more efficient than roofs at protecting stormwater and also protecting the sewer networks, the council sewer networks, from influx of unnecessary rainwater, which is why we're trying to protect both sides of the spectrum there. Kevin briefed on it. It's important to protect the sewer networks from rainwater, as they don't want the rainwater in there. It's clean rainwater. It doesn't need treating, and it costs them a lot of money to have that rainwater go through their treatment system. So we've got to stop that, and also stop the pollutants entering our stormwater networks that ends up into our oceans. So the purpose-built systems that you're about to see here are demand-driven, standard demand-driven diversion systems. We'll then talk about the capabilities of adding different features to these systems, and obviously go into the blue ribbon system where we can monitor water and set alarms, etc., for pollutant spills that are on site when nobody's there. So let's quickly talk about our demand-driven diversion system. This is our entry-level diversion system. The DD600, it comes complete as you see it on the screen, in a pit, manufactured with a basket, a Class D grate, the demand valve. It is a plug-and-play diversion system designed for small wash bays up to 2 meters by 5 meters, where you can control that, keep that area clean. And it's an automated diversion system. So how it works is you walk up to your wash bay, you turn your tap on, the demand valve sits on the potable water line. It senses the difference in pressure when you turn the hose on and drives the valve in the pit open. All of the wash water coming off that particular bunded area will then fall into the grate, be screened by the basket, go through the valve in the bottom of the pit, and then obviously off to the treatment system that's on site that's required by council. Once you've finished washing that area down, you clean it, you've washed your equipment, you turn the tap off. The system then knows there's no more wash down, the demand valve shuts, the hydraulic line bleeds, and the diversion valve in the pit is spring-loaded closed, locks off the treatment system or direct to sewer, whatever we're doing there. If it rains after that, it is simply a stormwater drain. Very simple, nil discharge of pollutants. All the pollutants have gone to through the correct orifice in the valve, and the stormwater line is just located on the side of the pit there. So you can see it discharges off. So if it rains for a week, that's okay, and it does do that in New Zealand occasionally. It's just a stormwater drain, and it's not a treatment diversion system unless you come back onto the area, wash equipment down, activate the valve, and the process is automated, simple, and much cheaper than a roof, and a lot more easy on the eye. The architects over here are a bit picky about roofs, and they don't look very good. They're a bit clunky and a bit inefficient at keeping rainwater out of the sewer. So a diversion system, a standard DD600 diversion system, is perfect for a small application. We then add some features to the DD600 to create a first flush system. Now, this is the most popular diversion system we have in our range. This system is used for areas that are, say, 2 meters by 5 and larger, and we can go all the way up to washing down A380s, ships on slipways, etc. with these systems, and I'll go through that briefly in a second. But the concept behind the first flush is to make sure that the wash bay is always cleaned and free of debris before it discharges off to the stormwater. It takes out the element of human nature, not putting things in the right place and cleaning the pad down at the same time. This system automatically cleans itself and cleans the pad when it begins to rain. So the features of the first flush system are very simple. It is a demand-driven system. Once again, the same as the DD600. You walk onto the wash bay with your cars, trucks, motors, tractors, aircraft, whatever it is, turn the tap on, commence wash. The valve hydraulically opens, takes all the wash water off to treatment, and that's the simple part of the demand-driven system. Now, with this system, if we're washing down heavy earth-moving equipment or anything that's going to leave debris on the wash area, and we finish wash down and then we walk away and we leave it, we're leaving that dirt on the pad, potentially pollutants like what I was talking about, cleaning chemicals, oils and grease, etc. If that's left on the wash bay, this system is a system that as soon as it begins to rain, it will take the first flush, which is 10 mil off that area. It's calculated through a PLC, which I'll go through in a second, and it diverts all the 10 mil to treatment automatically because the chances of that being contaminated are high. Then it locks down and becomes a stormwater drain. So how does that? It's very simple. Inside the pit, you'll, if you can see the 3D image there, there's a float switch that tells us that that's rainwater and not wash water. So once again, we've finished washing down, we've gone home, we've left that area dirty and it's began to rain. This system, the pit will fill up with rainwater and trip the float switch. Now the system's smart enough with a PLC to know it's not wash water, it's rainwater, and it will begin to batch and dump that polluted water off to the treatment system. It's not on time, it's actually done on volume. So we take the first flush calculations are length of wash bay, width of wash bay by 10 mil. So to give you an idea what that would be, if you've got a 10 metre by a 10 metre wash bay, you take length, breadth by 10 mil and you've got 1,000 litres. This system has 100 litres volume in its pit and will take 10 dumps of rain and send that to treatment. It's the trade-off between the EPA guys, the environmental guys, and the trade waste guys to say, well, 10 mil is enough to send to sewer, we don't want any more. And the EPA are saying, yep, 10 mil is okay. We'll presume that the pad is clean after that, and we're okay with the discharge from there. So this system does that automatically when it rains. The beauty of this system is it will only take a first flush once. So if it takes a couple of hours to take the first flush volume, that's okay. It's all done on volume, not on time, but it only does it once. So if it rains, it takes its full first flush volume and then it stops and starts raining for another week. Nobody's on the wash bay washing down. It doesn't take a first flush every time it rains. It knows it's cleaned this pad. The pad's clean. The only way you can reset that system is for it to be activated by wash down. So the guys come back Monday morning, turn the tap on, activate the wash, reset the PLC, and away it goes again. So we're not overloading the sewer systems with unnecessary amounts of rainwater, and we are protecting the stormwater from any pollutants left on that wash bay over any period of time. So that's our system. The fail-safe is it has a proximity switch in the diversion system in the pit. If it does get jammed from debris, which it shouldn't with maintenance, it should never get jammed, but if it does, If it doesn't close in an hour, it goes into alarm. We have a piezo and a visual alarm, and it will let you know that it needs to be rectified, and that's the system. So in a nutshell, that is the blue ribbon diversion system that we use for anything, any areas over a couple of meters by a couple of meters where you can't keep it clean. That is definitely the system to use, and the Stormwater 360 guys are doing a good job at marketing that product and protecting stormwater throughout New Zealand with that system. From the first flush system, we then go into our monitoring systems. Now, these systems are named or branded constant monitoring system or spill control system, both doing the same job. So they have the same features as the demand-driven system. They are open and closed on demand. They have first flush capabilities as well, so they can take a first flush off an area. The difference with these systems is we have a sensor probe in the pit looking for pollutants. So if the system has taken a first flush and on site you could have silos full of fuel cells, chemicals like chlorine, acid, abattoirs with blood, wineries, wine spills, and etc. These systems are designed to monitor the rainwater at 24/7. So how this system works is exactly the same as the demand-driven with the first flush capabilities. It takes its first flush, it finishes. When it starts to rain after the first flush is taken, the pit will fill up and will go through into the stormwater outlet. It will activate the float. The float then turns on the probe and it monitors the water. If it does sense any spills, it goes into alarm, diverts that spill off to treatment or an underground storage tank, preventing it from getting into the stormwater. We can also, on larger sites that are a little bit more sensitive, we can add stormwater shutdown valves into these systems as well. They go into alarms. You can have BMS fittings, you can have the PLC, send text messages, emails, etc. as an extra add-on to anyone who's not on site there that's in charge of maintenance, to let them know the system has gone into alarm. But once again, the systems are all designed to stop pollutants, whether it be wash water or spills from fuel stations and abattoirs and wineries, etc. The slipways for marinas, etc., going into the stormwater. It's all about making sure that the stormwater is protected 24/7 at all times. So there are three blue ribbon systems. The main core of our range. We have a few other systems there that we would be happy to chat to you about in another forum. We would welcome you to have a look at our website as well and have a look at the systems there, and we welcome any questions at the end of the presentation. So what we'll do now is we will talk about a couple of quick case studies, a couple that we've done here that have got a very broad spectrum of diversion systems on there. I am going to hand over to Mick, our operations and systems design engineer. He is more than capable to go through this and help you out, and he'll also help you out with any questions at the end. So thanks again for hanging in there through the presentation. Look forward to having a chat with you at the end.
Thank you, Dave. We will have a look at a couple of case studies, as Dave mentioned, on some larger sites that we have here in Australia. First one we'll look at is the boat works at Coomera on the Gold Coast in southeast Queensland. So the boat works, I believe, is one of, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the largest marinas in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, they have currently about 12 hard stand or slipway areas that they're using our diversion systems in, but they're currently designing and building an additional stage. They're still expanding. It is getting bigger and bigger. So we've been supplying systems to the boat works and the plumbers that are working on that site for the past few years, and continuing to at the moment. So they're multiple hard stand and wash down and maintenance areas that they're using. Some are roofed, some are unroofed, but they have an assortment of both the DD600 and first flush systems, as well as a few custom systems thrown in there as well for specific purposes. They also do have our oil water separators on site, so that anything that's diverted through to treatment from these diversion systems is then pumped through the oil water separators before being discharged to sewer. So just a few photos of some of these systems. You can sort of see a wide variety of systems on sites like these marinas and slipways. The one in the centre there, that photo, that is a custom system, which is a sort of multi-valve plate. You can see there's 4 diversion valves on that. The standard systems all have a single valve. The valves are rated to 20 litres a second. So any sites that are going to experience greater than 20 litres a second through these systems, we move to a custom plate mounted system, essentially. So that one in the centre operates in the exact same fashion. It's just capable of taking 80 litres a second as opposed to the standard 20 through a standard system. Moving on to another one. This site is called Field of Dreams. It's also in southeast Queensland. It's a beverage manufacturing facility owned by Suntory. They produce 20 million cases of energy drinks, alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages annually. So quite an impressive and automated facility. It was quite fascinating to go out and see it when it was still under construction and to see it operating. They do have 10 of our first flush systems on site in various areas. It is I couldn't tell you the size, but many acres of
it's a big
manufacturing
size.
facility. It took about 20 minutes to drive from one end to the other. So 10 first flush systems, but also a couple of custom constant monitoring and transfer closure systems as well. So being a beverage manufacturing facility, they have multiple sort of cleaning chemicals, different levels of alcohol and beverages being stored there as well. So all of that in humongous quantities. So these systems are in place so that they can monitor the quality of the stormwater, and as soon as the quality of the stormwater is not within sort of specification, these systems can go into alarm and send alerts to the maintenance teams. So on this site in particular, they do have constant monitoring systems with that stormwater closure. So it does shut off the stormwater system in the event that there is a spill, or in the event that the system does detect that the rainwater is not within specification. These systems are also set up with connection to the business management system. So they have a big monitoring room where it has all of their sort of business management, and it lets them know what sites, what systems, what equipment is not operating correctly, and they can monitor everything there. And our system is connected into that as well. So if we have a look at a couple of photos, again, you can see multiple valves in these systems just because of the volume of rainwater that we're seeing being collected on areas that are in excess of a few acres in some cases. So large volumes of stormwater running through these systems. That's sort of the basics of sort of the standard systems, and then a few custom ones as well. Feel free to put any questions in there about those or about other applications, and we're more than happy to go through those. But I think we will hand back over to Kevin for some New Zealand projects as well.
Thank you very much for that, Mike. So the Foxwell, we've installed over about 100, more over than 160 systems now, and as you can see, there's other than the general commercial car wash yards, we have been installing, with other trucks wash yard, boat wash yard as well. Quite a lot of small marinas where they can store boats or marina berth. Then we also have that has been installed in container washing yard as well. And as you can see in the example here, this has been installed in a train maintenance yard, where they also do a lot of the engine maintenance and also some of their washing as well. Down here, you can see the system there has been installed at a container washing yard as well. And as you can see on the two example on the right here, that's been installed for quite a large marinas, where one of the example at the top there is a Half Moon Bay Marina, where it can store, provide up to 500 parking for 500 boats, some of them even up to about 25 meters, and it can hold, about 100 boats could be having maintenance at the same time. So the system can be scaled. In case where there's in Half Moon Bay Marina, they've installed, I believe, up to 3 or 4 multiple Fox valve systems, because they are, there's a combination of few unroofed areas and also roofed areas to do the boat washing and maintenance as well. And I believe that's all from us. And I think we can go into the questions and answers.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dave and Mick. That was quite insightful. Just to add on to the New Zealand case studies, quite interesting, Mick, to see the large yards and the liquid yards. We've had a few interesting ones on this side as well. I think the first multi-valve system that I was involved in was the Auckland Airport livestock yard, Kevin, where we had the 80 liters per second. So it was a four valve custom design. Also with the first flush, like Dave explained to us, the functionality of that, the sump area was a custom volume design, and it was a very simple effort to calculate that first flush volume that came off the yard that needed to be diverted with that system. And with the livestock yard, you got a whole bunch of funny nasties, where the silt baskets, that little blue basket you saw there, perforated basket, is quite handy in picking up not only some of the animal feed, but also, after the feed has processed through the animal, it comes out the other side. So it picks up all of that to prevent the valves from clogging. The America's Cup saw quite a few interesting installs as well, in the Auckland Viaduct area and wharves, where I think some of these systems, Kevin, were quite deep down in deeper manholes, where wash water from the surface area in the wharves area drained down into deep manholes. So that was suspended. I think the silt basket was suspended with chains and bits and pieces, marine graded as well. So a variety. It really comes down to an unroofed wash area, whether it is boat or containers or a simple car wash. It must be diverted like we now understand, to a trade waste, and understanding also your bylaws in your specific area that will indicate the treatment required before tapping into the public trade waste line, but also similarly not to discharge clean water into your trade waste, into the sewage lines because of capacity. And then I think lastly, the lesson that I've had from today is to look for a standard for an approval, the watermark standard. Dave, I think that was the one that you guys mentioned to be the benchmark that we're looking for from the standard, giving us that confidence that this system has been tried and tested. So yeah, really, really, really good. Thanks to the Fox team for this. I don't see any. There are some Q&A. Before we start with that, there's something that always comes up. And I want to, just before we get into that, the one thing that we always ask, Dave, Mick, is maintenance and inspections. Is there a guide to what we should be doing with these systems? What is good practice on this? We learned about the alarm, but is there any other visual indicators? How easy is it to inspect this? Maybe if you guys can just give us 2 minutes on that, would be great.
Yeah, certainly. So, look, maintenance on these systems is very, very site dependent. So we see some sites where there's very little silt collected and maintenance is a fair bit lower, versus other sites such as mine sites and things where the silt loadings are humongous. So maintenance is site specific, but essentially the basic maintenance of it is within the pit. There is that blue silt basket, and most sites we recommend, a simple having a look through the grate to see whether or not the silt basket needs to be emptied is sort of the absolute minimum, if you like. In terms of servicing, we look at servicing on most systems every 3 to 6 months. Again, very site-specific. Sites that are used or have heavier usage than others may need a little bit more than that. But every 3 to 6 months for a typical sort of site. But good management of the silt and any other contaminants that might get caught in that silt basket certainly remove a lot of the maintenance issues that we see. Lots of the maintenance issues are simply caused by lack of on-site maintenance.
Yeah,
and I think that's pretty much.
Sorry, Von, just on that as well, I just wanted to add a point there, because these systems, we spoke about trade waste earlier in the presentation there, as most of these systems are discharging to trade waste. The trade waste rules and regulations over here, as you'll probably be the same boat, vary from shire to shire or council to council, town to town. So the minimum that over here you can have your maintenance scheduled for a diversion system is every 12 months. And the most stringent is every 3 months. So that's led by the trade waste policy that you're kind of under the guidance of in that territory.
Okay. Now, look, I think that's also it's good information. It's very much the same as pretty much any system that you use. Even for the treatment systems, the requirement for inspect to maintain, understanding, regular maintenance saves you remedial maintenance. That's always a bit more expensive. So better more often, more frequent than not.
Yes.
There's a few interesting questions. Andrew, I'm going to start with yours. Andrew says, we have a client moving sites. Ideally, they would like to take the unit with them. However, removal could prove difficult. Also, it could void the warranty. So what are the options in this one? Maybe I'll leave that to the Fox team.
Yeah, look, with the DD600, you can take the diversion valve out of the pit and replace it. But I would say, look, under a lot of circumstances there with installation, I would leave the system there. It should be part of the building, the factory, the apparatus that goes with that site. So I would, over here, we very rarely are we trying to take systems out of place. Once they're in, they're there for a reason. The landlord can then move on with renting that space out to somebody that needs that equipment as well. So, but if they need to be removed, you can take the valve out of the pit, you can take the controllers off the wall, you can fill that pit with concrete or block off the trade waste line and have it as a stormwater drain if you wanted. Yep, that can be done.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm jumping to Ray now. Is there a requirement for Fox valve systems in residential apartment projects?
Yes.
Where the bin store serving the entire building requires washdown and is uncovered? That sounds like a very clear yes. I just want to, there's two elements here. The one is if it's in Auckland, Ray, I'm not entirely sure. You can maybe just give us an indicator. But in Auckland, for instance, the Network Discharge Consent Chapter 4 dictates the use of specific elements for bin storage yards for both greenfield and brownfield developments, and for these areas you will have to have gross pollutant traps. So there's some treatment options in here. That's the one part that is compulsory under regulatory guidelines, but it is a washdown area like you've explained. So Dave, I think that's a clear yes, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Viner. Over here, any unit dwelling, any unit block, condos, villas that has 6 dwellings or more has to have a designated wash area for cars, and they normally have that as a dual purpose bin wash area as well. A lot of councils will let that go straight to sewer without treatment, but that's obviously dependent on the council. Where a diversion system is perfect, because trying to put up a roof over a 1-car park and having bollards, pillars and power and stuff so you can bash them around with your car, trying to get them in and out of a tight spot to wash it. Very, very popular application over here in Australia. Okay.
Right, I think that's a good answer to that specific question. Then you've also asked about the DD600S, which is just a code. And I think, Dave, if you want to answer just quickly the S itself from your side, it's your model.
Yeah, sure. So, Ray, with that one there, the DD600 is the industrial pit. It has the Class D grade. It's manufactured to be driven over. It has a big silt basket to collect sand, fine silt, etc. The DD600S is a simpler pit. It's smaller. It has a trash rack, not a silt basket, and a non-trafficable grate. So it's designed for a bin wash area only. And that's its restrictions there. Once again, bin wash areas in condos, villas, etc. residential, they don't want roofs over those areas. They just want the pit to sit there and do its job. And it's perfect for that application. Wash down the bins, etc. on a weekly basis, and non-trafficable, so you cannot drive over those. That's why they're bin wash only.
Okay, that clarifies that. You've asked whether it's stocked in New Zealand. Yes, we do. All of the Fox technologies under license and privilege from the Fox team, we distribute throughout New Zealand. So it is available, and if we do not have stock, Dave and his team is just over there, right? Takes a couple of weeks and it's here.
Even less if we put it on an airplane, mate. So that's not an issue.
Nice. That's good. I don't see any other specific questions and answers. If there's anything else, please add it in. I'm going to move to final comments. Kevin, anything from your side that you want to add as a final comment? You all good?
No, nothing from my side.
Okay. And then Dave and Mick, thank you very much for joining us today. Any closing comments from your side, experience, something that we may have missed from a question perspective?
No, I think we've done well there. The questions that have come up there are good questions. So I guess with the information coming back from that, the information we've given out for the presentation has been good. If there is any questions moving forward for anyone that's been sitting in on the webinar, please contact our local guys there, 360. They're more than capable of helping you out. Feel free to drop us an email or a comment on our website. We'll be happy to help you out however we can. Thanks, Mick.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Thanks, boys.
Thank you very much, Dave, and thank you, Mick. Thank you, Kevin, for your local expertise, and thank you everybody for joining us today and offering up a little bit of your lunchtime. I hope it was valuable. It was for me. And then, as Dave said, any questions, you just need to get to the Stormwater 360 website, make contact with the team on this side, and we have full access to Dave and his team on that site if there's further questions, but also with regards to the specific technologies if you're looking from a design perspective. We thank you again for joining us today, and we'll be in touch with the next webinar, hopefully in the new year. Thank you very much for joining.